Hello, all of you delightful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Raw Zim, currently using the TF Talkies, and this is DevTales, where we are going to be working on our SCAR system, or Stories and Creatures in Alternate Realities. The system is available for open playtest on our Discord as well as itch.io. So go take a look at it and let us know what you think. For now, though, yeah. Let's see, I guess we could go ahead and start, with one thing that came to mind for me this evening. So we're allowing second damage types on move now, or on moves now. Is it all considered one roll for the purposes of willpower and the like? I would say yes, but I wanted to go by, you know, run it by you guys first.
I'd say yes, because it still counts as one attack.
The answer is yes. Anyways, no reason to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. It's just kind of a thing where, you know, it's still one attack. It's just that you kind of have to make some separate rolls, but you're still in the power phase making, like, associated attached rolls, so.
Yeah, and like I said, I figured that would be the answer. It's just I wanted to make sure everybody was on board. Alright, we already went over the socketed gear last time. I need to turn down the plastic duck sim. Which, by the way, is up in the upper right. Did I mention that we, you can check out the system? I forget.
You did.
Okay, good. So you added this discussion about cheap shot, Tao?
Yeah, because, like, scrolling through some of these feats, they're, like, you know, really good and impactful, and you want them, they're kind of, like, worth the cost. I didn't put, like, a massive list of them, because, this is a really good jumping off point. If you on Affinity feat, let me pull up the exact page number here. It is page 46 for Shadow Affinity Cheap Shot. At least for, like, you know, the big explanation.
Right.
So what it does is it gives you 1 bonus dice to accuracy against a target suffering from a condition. Which means that this effect is, technically speaking, a conditional 6 XP effect. Which, like, you know, is still beneficial, but it does mean that this is an effect that only takes effect sometimes, and it costs 25 XP, and the effect is worth 6 XP.
I will point out that it is, like, at least rules is written here, it would apply to every attack. It is not conditional to only once per turn. So, you know, you're doing a multi-attack and you're getting a +1 accuracy to every move there. So,
yeah,
early game where you only use 1, yeah, it is only 6 XP equivalency, but... or less. But later on, it could be more, but I do see what you mean.
Yeah. It's conditional. You need to attack at least 5 times in a single turn to even make up the XP.
How about we change it to guaranteed success then?
Yeah, I mean, that would mean that you'd only have to attack, like, 3 times in order to get the get like an XP value, and that's pretty simple to do. But I definitely think that we should go through some of these at some point, maybe tonight, maybe like some other day, or just as like a little side project, and make sure that they are actually like at least giving some XP value.
I am all for that.
Because, like, you know, looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's a cool effect. You know, to basically be like, you're more accurate versus targets that are being maladied by some way. That's very flavorful for, like, shadow affinity. But also the actual effect is sometimes kind of questionable.
Does this mean, Tal, that you're getting involved in feats?
No, because I am not designing them. This is me going, hey, by the way, your numbers here are not giving, like, the effect is not worth the cost you're getting.
Okay.
And the vast majority of these are at least, like, you know, worth the cost, if that's what you want to be doing.
I was just teasing.
Well, do we have something else to talk about here? Because that is it for my discussion points.
Well, I guess we always could just, like, you know, spend time going through, but there is always the final approval on the new character sheet version test that I put out. Because we do still need to, like, actually have final approval. I mean, you guys were paying attention while I was working on it most of the time, but, like, there's stuff where, like, you know, for example, it looks like a little bit messy, like, for the conditions thing, and I didn't know if you wanted me to, like, try and standardize the spacings or, like, leave it as it is, so I'm not too sure about that. If we want to chop back down the ability slots, but, like, you know, run the risk of people needing to make a bajillion tabs for it. Things like that still need to be gone over.
Well, let's go ahead and go through it.
Alright, I guess let's start off with the ability slot part. I expanded it out a lot, just so that way people wouldn't need a second tab, usually. But also, like, you know, it's still a really big tab. Because on one hand, like, you know, even if I make, like, a couple of random moves and then, like, make 2 dynamic moves, because, like, I get dynamic moves are great and people should really make more of them. It's very easy to run out of room. Like, you know what I mean? If we chop it down to, like, looking nice, it ends up being 6 slots.
No, I think this looks good.
Okay.
For me, I'd probably put my dynamic moves at the bottom because...
The 3 across, that's why I did that.
And then the other...
That is literally the reason why I did that. You could also count 3 down up top, but, like, then again, you know, you're running out of space so fast. Like, the 6 has enough room for 2 dynamic moves. Also, we are all good with the new move box. Well, I guess ability box.
Yeah, I haven't seen any issues with it personally yet. I think it's
Cool.
fine.
Yeah, it's looking great to me.
Cool. So that one's fine. The one that the section that I'm least confident in is still the conditions and utilities.
Oh, that tab?
Yeah. I was looking at that, I
Because
was
the
gonna ask about
descriptions
that.
are so like
Does he?
like there's ones where it's a single line, there's one where it's 2, there's ones where it's 4 lines. So it ends up looking like kind of messy, and I don't know if you want me to chop down the descriptions or like try and standardize the size.
Um,
I don't
the
think you can standardize the size without it looking bad.
yeah,
With a bunch of empty space.
and having all of this quick reference here is it's just too valuable.
Yeah, it's just more like it looks like garbage, but it's really useful, so I wasn't quite sure. Oh yeah, by the way, fun fact, the size category, if you click like buttons like on the yours, I guess I don't have that's gonna need the S. Or maybe I should. Yours, yeah. But on the size category, like, you know, let's say here, I'm just gonna fill out the front sheet slightly just so you can see what I'm talking about. 7, 5, 3. There we go. So if you look at the stat sheet, you can see in the quick reference that, like, you know, there's actual numbers there now. If, for example, I'm playing a large character in a medium average game, you could see the evasions and integrities update live. Or, like, let's say I'm playing a tiny character. You'd see a change.
Yeah, I like that.
I set it to medium by default because, you know, default. There's also little boxes for movement speed, cover modifier. I put a feet limits box in there because there was a lot of questions about that.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Obviously, it also auto updates.
The only thing that I would say on this tab that I'm seeing as a potential issue, I would recommend, for ease of readability, just, okay, maybe a little bit more, but
Do the, yeah.
alternating lines.
Yeah. That might help a little bit.
Yeah, in that case. Maybe one less than that. Like that?
Yeah, yeah. It'll help with readability, I think. And
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't see anything else we can do with this while still also having the information here.
Do you think you could make the first row of words like... Nope, that's not going to work. Never mind. It was a thought. It ain't going to work.
An alternative idea is you just get rid of all of this and program in a little drop-down box that will then auto-populate with the info.
Yeah, but then people aren't going to be able to reference it for their own use.
I know.
The most that I could really do is like this. Just like make it at least 3 going down.
I say standardize it to 2. Because that does feel a little too big. Yeah, I think having it like that will be better.
Yeah, the hard part with that, I'll have to recode some stuff, but that's fine. I think if I just that's gonna be slightly messed up for now, but like, you know, if I just just to make sure that that didn't break something. Okay, so that's still fine. Now that's 53. If I go over here, did this change to 53? Okay, it did. Cool. It did correctly change things, so I guess it won't be a problem for me doing that. I could standardize this to 2.
Obviously, some of them will still be bigger, or, bigger, but I think it'll be fine.
But yeah, so basically just doing this all the way down, making sure it's at least 2.
Yes.
And then that, basically. Obviously, I'll have to go through and like fix things up, but yeah. So I can do that. I guess that's most of the things that I wanted to go over. The only other thing, I guess, is I wanted to like try and make it flush, which is why I put like all this, but like in the scar type reference, like the ASI is fine, right?
We got that blank space there. Do you want to just include what the ASI stands for there, just for ease? Because it confused me, unfortunately.
I would definitely say having a key over here would be good.
Cool. So I'll just like... And I'm bolded anyway. Yep. Also, the only thing I did make sure to set all of this these boxes, the auto calc boxes, as protected. So like even if you do that and like you accidentally want to change something, or people try and do it manually, not realizing, it'll give them the little warning. And the only thing that is not auto-calculated is the bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, because, like, you decide that.
Alright, let's try
Also,
and break
I'm not
this.
going to lie, this type calculator thing took the vast majority of the time.
I am certain it did. Ooh.
If you just start clicking, it's going to break. It does not have a max of 2.
Zim just wants to see everything highlighted.
It's interesting that you can go down this list. There are a few that, like, all of these are selected, and they just have an overall resistance of 2 electric here.
Well, yeah, the only thing that... Yeah. But if you click one more, it'll...
Highlights are nice, you can like them.
I forgot the fish teeny was here.
Am I that forgettable?
Yes.
Because you're not normally supposed to be here, Sardini.
I don't really know what to use with all this space. It's literally just
I don't know. Put a graphic there, because that's not the only blank space we have. We also have one in ability slots, and I am very tempted to go through and checkerboard it.
Oh, I checkerboarded it before, but...
I would say also put in the key of the check X and then the circle.
Well, that's still in the top right.
Well, yeah, but you can say that it's, you are weak or such with that.
Why do you have this 7 places? Because you will ask otherwise.
And plus, literally just because, filling in space. Because it looks bad to have that empty space.
The other thing that I could do, I guess, is I could have like shrunken this like horizontally more by taking here. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That would have been 11. Oh well.
I mean, it already looks much better with the key there.
Yeah.
It's still just going to be the same thing. I think that's the most neutral way that I could put it where it works for both defense and offense. Anything else that you guys think that I can like shove in here?
Nothing specifically.
I'm gonna go look in the type section of our document just to see if there's something bullshit that I could put there. That's usually what I do if I have blank space. Not really. I guess the only other thing that I could try shoving in would be keywords. But...
Well, time to pixel art then.
Let's say I tried to do that.
I don't think that's gonna fit at all.
Oh, it totally isn't, but I just want to see.
Oh no.
Yeah, I need that much just for Astral.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that it's for all of them, so you would need to have all of these rows.
Well, yeah, but I'd, like, just chop off the things from the key.
No chopping off anything of key.
Oh, wow. Anyway, I guess we could always checkerboard a bit.
I think we'll just leave it as is for now. Maybe we'll find something later.
2... Wait, hold on. 3, 4, 5...
I'm tempted to see if I can throw in a pixel
Wait, hold on.
dragon.
If we checkerboard this, we can actually do something cool. 1 second.
So everyone, apparently the dragons are the ones with ADHD tonight.
You're the one who said you were worried about us actually, like, taking enough time with this. And here I am, doing something cool for you. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, you skipped metal.
Yeah.
Legit, I do like that, actually.
It skips out, it cuts out basic, but, like...
Basic is filling in all this extra space between them all.
True. Then... And then... Wind. Then... Oh, wait.
As we are all just silently watching Tal do this.
I don't care
I
if you're
mean-
complaining.
Is there something wrong with watching this?
No, just, you know.
Here we go. Alternatively, I could do something else to make it just be like properly repeating.
Them seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it ends with necrotic here, so...
I do have something that I can do here.
It's one short.
No, actually, if you put it here, you know, extend it one more column over, and it'll work perfectly.
That was going to be the one thing I was going to do.
Alright, let's do it. Hello there,
I mean, look.
Ren.
We need to make things pretty.
Of course we do.
Is it Ren or is it Edger?
Well, Edger is a different... that is why it's brother, not Ren.
Ah.
Ren, get in voice. We need entertainment while we are sitting here fiddling with type checkerboard that the three of us are going to like, but or are liking, but I don't know about the rest of you. Well,
Hi, Ren. Oh, no, it's Raijin. Hi, Raijin.
Raijin!
Oh, Raijin.
Mwah.
Was not expecting a Raijin.
I'll get through QA tonight, though, Tal, when I'm working on this here.
There you go.
I
It ends on
started, I
one
got my actual job kicked in.
There we go.
Yes, that's
Our
much
little
better.
our little type checkerboard.
Much better.
Starts on astral, ends on wind.
Yep, I like it.
I'm tempted to put it in a box.
I mean, here's one thing that I can do. If I change the colors slightly, I can make it do that. So now it's sharper.
I think I like that better.
Instead of it being fuzzy, now it's defined.
Let's see. What happens when we add this? Wow, the outline does not like working with some of these colors.
It really doesn't.
Yours was better, Tal.
Defined again.
Sleep that would look neat. It didn't. How unfortunate.
Also, I'm gonna give the Gib Gab head pats. Pat pat. Oh yeah, there we go. There's our little type checkerboard.
Alright, so is this where we start designing Scar chess?
No, I've got a whole section I'm still working on.
I guess if you really want to delay magic.
No.
Anyway, besides me going and, you know, effectively just making, conditions and utilities look a little bit better. I guess, there isn't really much else that, like, I specifically want to go over here. I guess I've already gone over it a bit, but, I did make the custom, like, if you put in custom skills on name, it'll autofill to the EXP sheet as that name, for example. But, yeah, I think that covers most of this. Obviously, there's, like, final QA and check and all that, just to make sure that all the numbers work. But I went through and tried to check myself earlier today. And,
I started to.
I fixed up, like, some of the minor things, but obviously there's probably going to be something that I'll miss. Oh, yeah, here's the other thing I did. I made it so that way the damage tracker, like, works like this. But here's the neat part. There was a small problem that I noticed earlier today, where if you look at the front sheet, and you see that I put in, like, things into the damage tracker, and it has, like, current HP 2 and a max HP of 5. There was this funny little problem where if you clicked the wound, it would lower your max HP, and because your max HP was lowered, your current HP was lower too, because it was calculating the total amount of damage you've taken versus your max HP. So I did some fuckery and I fixed it. So now when you click wounds, it doesn't care. But if, let's say, you have you take a tier 3 wound and your max HP is 1, your current HP can't be above 1, so the auto tracker will automatically set it where if your wounds minus your max HP minus your wounds would be above your max HP, whatever that is right now, it just sets your current HP to your max, like that. See? So if, let's say, I just quickly give it, like, a large health bar, and let's say I have 3 damage on me because, like, I got so much healing, and I was only able to take off damage to that amount, and I click a wound, it'll automatically set my current HP equal to my max, even though, technically speaking, I still have damage on me. And if that happens, I can still just take this off, like, just fine, and it doesn't change anything. But this also has the nice effect of you can have damage on you without it currently affecting your health, so you can still get healed up. Because this also means that, like, let's say someone does surgery on you to remove a wounded condition, but you roll like shit on your nightly heal check or whatever, and you don't heal enough to actually get back to full because you roll a 1, you could have your stuff fixed, but it's still properly keeping track of your current HP. See? Like let's say I was only able to take off so much damage. And like, let's say I rest so the non-lethal falls off. But I still have 2 lethal damage on me because that hasn't been fixed yet. But the wound gets fixed. I'm still at -2 current HP.
Very nice.
And obviously, if you were to take damage and you have restorative or preventative HP, obviously that just takes the damage, and you yourself don't actually take the damage.
Oh. Something that just occurred to me. You should change the term from wounds to injuries.
Injuries? Okay.
We did make
Did we
that.
change it?
It was brought up, I'm pretty sure it was by Raijin, that winded and wounds are a little too similar.
Oh, true.
And so we decided to call them injuries instead.
That makes sense.
Yep. So change that. But yeah, so that was a fun little problem that I noticed earlier today. Oh yeah, also like clicking tier 3 like injury, I guess now. It sets all this stuff correct, but your unconscious and dead points don't change, so you don't have to remember what that's supposed to be at, because it just has it on the damage track, and obviously there's a little ticker box for if you're stable or not. To be fair, Garo, you can still be put into the winded condition with non-lethal damage. You just don't pick up an injury from
it. I think your update to the conditions and utility broke the sizes.
What makes you say that?
Let me double check. Nope, never mind. I broke my own.
Ah, okay. Did you forget to uncheck something?
No, I tried to modify mine with a quick copy and paste, and Excel does not always like that.
Yeah, no, that would.
Unfortunately, that's fine.
But obviously I'm gonna keep working on now that we've like gone over most of this. I just want to make sure that there's no other changes that you want to be made before it's like officially approved, and I just sit there fixing the conditions before the end of the dev today.
I say it's good. I see nothing else to change.
Cool. The Scar type reference will now make our lives so much goddamn easier, and obviously this is going to get ported over to the enemy sheet version thing that I make.
Yes, please. Also, be right back. I'm going to go take my meds.
Also, no, you can't kill someone with non-lethal damage. So, there is that. But I will also remind you that, non-lethal damage falls off after a rest. So even if they get a breather rest, all of the non-lethal damage falls off. So you can kick them into the dirt and they'll be fine the moment they get, like, a little bit to breathe. But then, after that, if you kick them down into the ground again, they can't get back up for 8 hours. So, if you're willing to fight them twice, you make sure that they're that they aren't ready to continue for a while. I will also point out that you can make appraise checks on things in order to see what their current status is. So, like, you know, if you try and appraise an opponent that's down, I might, like, you know, if you roll well, you might be able to just tell that, like, they're down, but they aren't, like, out yet. So, you know, not to, like, just get close to them in case, you know, they are able to get back up. But cool. I will be fixing up the sizes here. And we could start discussing some other things.
Alrighty. Well, you were talking about the feats, so I suppose we should go through that.
Alrighty. Let me get that up on my second screen here. All right. I'm at the. I'm assuming that we're going to be going through like the detailed feat section, not the little quick reference.
Correct. I'm planning to just make notes of what we go through with that.
All right, cool.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
I'm back.
Welcome back to our band.
All right. So, Era, we are going to be looking through the feats and deciding if any of them need some sprucing up.
Yep. I heard wireless headset and all.
Yep. I just didn't know if you had it on or not.
Nope, I'm actually there right now.
Cool.
Are there any particular ones you noticed other than Sheep Shot, or?
That's the only one that I really noticed, just because, like, I happened to look at the shadow feats again, for, like, future planning of some things.
Okay, there's one I need to look at anyways. I need to look at the primeval ones.
Yeah. So, starting off with the ability feats, obviously Jack of all trades and Master of none. I feel like those are fine. Jack of all trades, you get value after, like, you're breaking even after 5 purchases, which, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. It just stops you from spending as much, like, XP on taxes. Because, obviously, that can get pretty expensive pretty quickly if you start flexing into other types and don't just stick to, like, the types that you're good at. And this also, technically speaking, lowers the barrier to entry into picking up proper affinities, so long as you leverage your roleplay correctly. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think there's plenty of play around these feats. And Master of None, it specifically, you know, you want to, you know, be doing that kind of stuff anyway. If you're going down that tree, we might want to also change that to accuracy success. But
Where are we at? Sorry.
ability feats, like, 'cause looking from the top.
Yeah, affinities,
No, the one above that, ability feats. The section above affinity feats.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Slight,
I was starting from the top, Zip. What are you talking about?
I thought we were only going to go through affinities.
I was just gonna go through the feat selection real quick. Like, besides, there's two ability feats. Like, we can go through them really quick.
Fair enough.
But honestly, I'm fine with both of them. I might lean towards giving Master of None like a slightly better upside. But it's not exactly like, I guess, the most important thing. It's just that's what I would lean towards because of the because it's also further down a feat chain, so you have to take Jack of all trades in order to even get access to that.
That is fair. I mean, we could get rid of the prereq. But I think we did want to keep it.
Well, specifically because it's obviously a tree combo. Jack of all
Yeah.
trades, Master, you know.
In that case... How about a bonus die and a guaranteed success? Or do we would just want to stick with guaranteed successes with this? Because there are a lot of these feats that are just bonus die on this, if this.
I think sticking with a, like, looking into making them guaranteed successes is probably more impactful. So we should look, because some of these I know will also give other secondary effects. But I guess a good rule of thumb is probably if it's the only effect, it should probably be a success. If it's tacked onto another effect, it should probably be a dice.
So rule of thumb, if it gives something else, additional dice. If it doesn't, it's a guaranteed success.
I think that's probably a good rule of thumb for us to follow when
I
balancing
am
these.
completely fine with that, personally.
And if we want to like deviate from that, like obviously we can. It's just, you know, rule of thumb.
Yeah, fair enough. So this one's going to be changed to guaranteed success then.
Yeah.
Just making notes.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Got that noted.
Did we ever change the beginning experience, by the way, all the way across the board, or is that still in testing? I forgot to ask about that.
Currently, that is technically still in testing, but everybody is using it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, because I wasn't sure if that affected DAH or not.
Yeah, that is
I
still,
think
or that is in effect for DAH.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we're just gonna make it official because I've not seen any
It's
issues from it, and people are really liking it. So
Yeah, it's fine. If there was a problem with it, we would have discovered it by now.
yeah. But anyways, moving to type affinity.
Yep. Type affinity scaling cost with a cap. Reasonable and fine. Stab affinity, it just gives you stab, but you have to have the type affinity. Makes sense. Those are pretty standard and well costed.
Alright.
Alien thinking, pretty flavorful. It's effectively a roll with advantage. With insight or when attempting to solve a puzzle or riddle, which is definitely powerful. It scales with you, so if you pick this up early, it's still decent. And if you pick it up later, you don't feel like you've outgrown it. Which, outgrowing a feat is, without, like, it providing some sort of support still, like, always kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So, you don't outgrow it, which is always nice.
You know, that is a very good point. Maybe instead of guaranteed successes, we could make it equal to maybe secondary scale.
In bonus dice, you mean?
Yeah. Not guaranteed successes, bonus dice. So at the beginning, yeah, it's not as good, but it will scale with you.
Yeah. Because I do know that's one part. Because I do know that's one part of Meld with Shadows, like in particular, that I find very flavorful and nice, is that you don't outgrow it. That's the one where, you get a bonus equal to your subterfuge on your roll in darkness when trying to stealth, or in low light you get half of your subterfuge as a bonus. Which, you know, you don't outgrow it, you scale with it, which I think is very good design-wise. So, I think with other things, tying it to some sort of skill and having it give bonus or half bonus depending on the situation or how we feel about it is probably a good idea. But I guess a generalized, secondary scale thing could work as well.
You're right, Vari. It will scale with most people.
Don't know if I agree.
Go ahead.
I like the idea of it scaling, but I don't know if I agree with it scaling with the secondary scale. I do have concerns at that point that you might be developing a system where the preferred build would be to have one primary attribute and a secondary attribute that you focus on, and you dump the other attributes as a result.
Yeah. We do have some defense against that, because things like boost die scale with primary scale, which does not take into account your secondaries at all. Same with the feats, other ones scaling by the feat limit and primary range scaling with the primary scale.
It's just the case that we see from Nova that having a solid focus on your vigor and willpower is very powerful through Second Wind already.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he also has every single Second Wind feat, which is why his Second Winds look particularly, so hard to deal with, but that's because he's invested, 100 XP into just having, feats that support his Second Winds. Which I'm not gonna say that that's not a strong strategy, but it's also that's what's going on. He has a bunch of feat support for it and is using
it. I'm just going to be concerned about it if like as a blanket thing, if the going by secondary scale was how you treated feats.
I mean, I would prefer tying it to a skill of some kind, if possible. If not, then yeah, I mean, we kind of have to choose like attribute scale, primary scale, or secondary scale.
I am good with some of them scaling based on feet or based off of skills. But absolutely, it's just this is more a foundation of if we have nothing better. Like in the case of Master of None, I don't know any skills that we would want that or that would make sense for that to scale with.
I mean, technically, we already have aura scale. You could just rename that into feat scaling. Though that's technically
what scale?
just primary scale.
The aura scaling.
The aura scaling.
Oh, yeah, because like the auras scale on attribute scale in its description, and the feat limit and primary range scale off of primary scale. So we have one thing that scales off of attribute, two that scale off of primary when it comes to feat scalings.
That's just my thought, though. I'm just concerned about vigor and willpower becoming too powerful if too much gets tied to it.
Yeah, they are intended to be a burnable resource where not too much scales off of them. But there are certain feats where it makes a ton of sense for them to be like scaled off of those in particular. Like Morning Creature, for example. The exhaustion recovery one, that makes a lot of sense that it goes off of secondary scale. It's half secondary scale to be specific. But yeah, I think we should lean towards something like primary scale if we don't have a skill we can attach it to, because that's what like feats usually scale off of. But we should look into skills where possible.
Primary scale also makes sure that no matter which kind of build you're going for, it scales for you.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're going with Nova's strategy of just keep coming back.
Yeah, but to be fair, I've only put so many points into secondary scale because otherwise he would be doing nothing. Going into secondary scale is nice and all, but then that also means that none of your defenses are getting leveled and none of your offenses are getting leveled. Not to mention your skill checks, because skill checks generally speaking
either way,
use vigor. But yeah.
Either way, Master of None. What do we want it to scale with?
I'd prefer primary scale.
Primary scale.
Maybe like half primary scale. Primary scale, half primary scale.
I don't think I want to go with half. Considering we were considering it, this would be adding a bonus die, not guaranteed success. If we were going with guaranteed success, then I would say half primary.
Yeah.
Then primary scale it is.
Alright.
There you go, Vari. It will scale for you.
Yep. We should definitely put, we're going to have to keep an eye on some of these in order to make sure it remains balanced. But, yeah. Because part of the reason that I'm always wary is because I'm always trying to consider things like Fury.
Alright, so that's Master of None finished. Astral Affinity, that one's still good. We already went through that. Rift Surge. Drawing upon otherworldly energies, you are able to recover 1 point of vigor or willpower at the cost of a standard action and 1 point of exhaustion.
It's resource recovery at the cost of something else, which, yeah, pretty balanced. Also, because if you abuse it, you're going to exhaustion yourself out really quickly.
Yeah.
So, get back, like, absolutely, this has, like, a lot of use. But also, you know, you're paying... In order to use that, you'd also have to, you know, accrue the exhaustion for using it. So it's really, you get to use Vigor or Will again, but it's at the cost of 2 exhaustion. So, definitely balanced. You will exhaustion yourself out very quickly if you use this more than, like, once or twice. But also, you know, if you're willing to accept the consequences, you could just jam a bunch of willpower and vigor for something, you know?
Exactly.
You know. So, yeah, that one's definitely still fine.
Maybe one small adjustment on it to make it a little bit more enticing is that the negative effects of exhaustion do not get felt until after the current scene.
Basically, like, note down saying that, you do not gain the exhaustion until the scene is over.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Want to make it seem like it's actually useful in the moment, because, you know, you start doing that and then suddenly, you know, the exhaustion is costing you dice, and so it's like, well, what's the point?
You've bracketed yourself almost immediately.
Exactly. Because then to even use that vigor and willpower, you got another exhaustion, so it's...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the cost of 2 exhaustion. And you've also probably already used all of your natural ones that you had if you're using the feat. Because you have to pay a tax, so, you know, you're not just gonna do that as your first response.
You're paying interest.
Yeah.
Alright, got that noted. Tracing the constellations. When using this feat, it grants you an additional 10 feet of movement and allows you to use the movement maneuver to move through multiple allies and or enemy spaces in order to wind up next to a target ally or enemy. This movement does not provoke an attack of opportunity for moving through enemies and counts as a teleport for all intents and purposes. You must move through the space of at least 2 unique targets before winding up next to a third ally or enemy. This feat may be used a limited number of times equal to half feet limit.
Okay, important question.
Yes.
It says additional 10 feet of movement. Does that mean plus 10 movement speed, or that at the end of things you have plus 10 movement that you've moved?
Plus 10 movement speed.
Okay. Because otherwise, what I could technically do is I could 5-foot step for 15 feet. So long as I pass through 2 people, like if I was in a mosh pit, I could 5-foot step for 15 feet. Which is kind of funny, but, you know, I just wanted to make sure.
Does it really need to... Alright.
To be fair, that could just be like a hotfix thing, but, you know.
Yeah. Movement speed grants you an additional 10 feet of movement speed. For the purpose of using this feat. That makes sense? That close that loophole?
Yep. I can no longer take a 5-foot step for 15 feet. Hey, look, you know that when you read that and you actually realized what it said, you're like, okay, it technically does let you do that.
To be fair, a 5-foot step also does not trigger an attack of opportunity. So it would kind of be... You might as well just use your movement and only go the 15 feet if that's all you want to go anyways.
Well, so here's the thing. I could technically use this with a 5-foot step out with a quick step feat action to quick action teleport right next to the enemy's backline if it's a mosh pit. With how it was worded before.
Fair enough.
So, I'm not saying it would be always useful, but it did have some funny things that you could do with that.
Well, let me put out the hotfix update.
You might want to wait for, like, if we have to change.
Well, I'm writing it out, basically.
Okay.
Not sending, just writing it out so I don't forget to write it.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Okay. So next, basic hack, impact, or impale. When you attack with a basic type move, you may ignore the target's resistance to your damage. This feat must be repurchased for each of the 3 types under basic type: bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. I think that's good as is.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, we might want a little bit of wording update on this because it's not to like any, it's just for like if it's hack, you ignore slash resistance. But the basic thing, yeah. The design is perfectly fine.
So you want me to...
Well, because it says right now, when you attack with a basic type move, you may ignore the target's resistance to your damage.
Also, I should
This
change
technically
that to
means if I
ability.
have any of these, I could just... Like, if I have it impact, I could just have it be impact and it would ignore any resistance.
Oh, right. This was specifically for moves. That's right.
Yeah.
Because weapons can just have this
Yeah.
with their traits.
Yeah.
And I think that's good
wording.
clarification there as well.
Yep. So
gonna go
follow-up
now.
kind of got... Follow-up was really good, and then it kind of got gutted. And now it's just been kind of sitting there gutted.
Good night, you all. I'm gonna go now.
Okay,
Good
good
night.
night.
Have a good night.
I forgot he was here again.
Personally, I think follow-up should instead maybe trigger on the same turn, but then give, like, accuracy successes.
One sec, sorry, I'm writing the hotfix thing.
Yep.
Alright, so follow up. You receive a bonus die on accuracy if you attack the same target you did last turn. This is only for 1 attack per turn.
Yep. It used to be on every, and then it got gutted. But honestly, I think that the way that it should work is if you're attacking the same target for the second or more than second time that turn, it should activate. like thematically. You're literally following up on yourself already.
So it'd only really be useful for multi-attack?
No, because you could also, remember, just do a standard attack and then do a quick action attack
Oh, fair enough.
in whatever order. I mean, you could have it be for either, I guess, but, you know. I feel like there's a better way to make follow-up work without it just being, like, the greatest thing ever.
Alright, so your suggestion is it can happen multiple times in one turn?
Yeah, multiple times in one turn. We could change the requirement to you having already attacked that individual this turn.
And then it won't carry over from one turn to the next.
Yeah.
Are we good on bonus die on accuracy, or do we want to change that?
Well, it is kind of a case where it's kind of a case where it's the only thing that it's doing, and you don't get it for the entire turn, but it's also got a really low bar to activate. But if you're not dedicating yourself to it, you're only going to get the advantage for it on one attack a turn. So it's really only with multi-attack that this gets a lot of value.
Scale with
Does that make
initiative?
sense?
Yeah,
What?
that makes sense. I was saying we can make it scale with initiative.
Oh. Yeah, that seems interesting and fun, actually. Like, legitimately, that definitely seems a lot more fun than just having it. Yeah. What do you think, Eric?
This is for follow-up still?
Follow up, yeah. What about making the amount scale with your initiative?
That makes sense to me, yeah.
Alright, got that noted. Next up. Type adaptation. You may use your reaction in order to change one of your types to a new one. This change lasts for the scene, and you may only do it a number of times per full rest equal to half of your feat limit. This change only applies to your defenses for resisting incoming damage. You may decide to use this at any point before you find out the damage of an attack that was dealt. You are not limited to only to types with which you have affinity for. I think this is good as is.
Yep.
Yep.
Hardened,
It's definitely good.
yeah.
Good.
Hardened Stone. Using a standard action, you may harden your body in order to gain a single natural defense negation for the current scene. This may be used a limited number of times equal to half feat limit. Natural defense negation reduces incoming damage by 1 before it applies to natural durability.
Is this for both negation types, or is it for one negation type?
Should be clarified. I believe the intent... I'm pretty sure the intention originally was both.
Both? Okay. It's limited to a half feet limit anyway, so you could use this once, maybe twice, like early. So, and that's when this is like the most impactful. So yeah, no, this is fine. I just wanted that clarification because it's unclear.
And I mean, it is only 1 point, so the scaling isn't as impactful, but I think considering it literally is just deleting a point of damage, I don't think we should have that scale higher.
No. Especially because this is also the sort of thing where they want to be using this as early on as possible, and they're already having to pay a standard action for it. Because, obviously, let's say you take damage before you get this up. there is not a good way to really heal your natural defenses in the middle of a scene or anything. Like, that's just kind of gone now.
Well, negation is the their version of integrity, where it deletes the damage.
Yeah, but it
So
stops
you're-
working if the armor gets broken.
True. Perhaps
So,
we could put in a thing where at attribute, say, 15 or maybe 18, it changes from standard to quick. Just to give a little bit of scaling usability.
I mean, maybe, but you kind of already want to use this on medium or heavy armor. Actually, maybe you could make it so that way the action cost, maybe the action cost changes with the type of natural armor you're wearing. But then again, like, it doesn't feel as worth it for the heavy armors to even use it then.
Yeah. I say giving it
Then
a
maybe-
little bit of scaling where it just automatically becomes a quick action instead later on would be the
Yeah.
best bet. Any objections?
No.
Go
It also
ahead.
lets you do the very funny thing where when it becomes a quick action, you can do it 3 times a turn, and like on your first turn, you're just like, all right, defenses engage.
Ah, so we're pushing the EV out in
Oh.
front of every battle then.
So this was intended only once per scene. Do we want to
okay.
keep that?
It does not say once per scene, so.
I know, but that's one of those loopholes that I didn't think of, which is why you're here.
Hi.
My intention was once per scene. Do we want to keep it that way? And I mean, obviously I'll have to put in the text for that, but do we want it to be that way, or...
I don't think it would be necessary.
I mean, it's already limited by half feet limit, so
Yeah.
they can't like jam it completely anyway. I'm just saying, like, late game you could get up to +3/+3 in a turn, but you're also using your entire turn for that.
Yeah, but it would last for the entire scene.
Well, yeah, and then someone uses a condition on you and goes, Lamau, what are you doing?
Fair enough.
Like, I'm
Alright.
just pointing out, like, yeah, against, like, direct damage, it's good, but there's many, many ways to get around armor. Even if it's natural armor. So, it's not really that problematic to me, especially considering by the time you're doing that, like, even, like, medium armors on, like, tier 3 medium armor, like, balance is pretty beefy, actually. What is tier 3 balanced medium? Yeah, that's at 4 negation each, so.
Alright, so...
3 negation each. 3 negation each.
I say attribute 18 for when it turns to a quick action. Mostly
It feels
because
weird having it not go at a break point, but like I'm fine with it.
we just have a lot of well, not a lot, but so far everything attribute score related is all at 15, and I kind of want to vary it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean I prefer keeping it at break points, but like it's still a multiple of 3 or 5, so
Well, what
It's
were
acceptable.
our breakpoints again?
every 5, so it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Then make it 20.
Yeah, that puts it at a tier 4 character.
Yeah, I'd be fine with 20.
To put that into perspective, that's like that would be where like a little bit past where we are in like Lick. We're like getting there towards being tier 4 characters.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with 20.
I'm gonna be right back again, but I can hear.
Alright, Pocket Sand. Whenever you attack an enemy with a physical attack, you subtract 1 die from the target's next accuracy on their next turn. In addition, there is a 10% chance of applying 1 stage of the blind condition. You may not increase their stage of blind with this feat. You may not increase their stage of blind with this feat, and if they already have a stage of blind, that portion of this feat fails. Kuroi, hello.
Does the accuracy subtraction stack if I attack with multiple physical?
Right now, I think rules is written it would.
Alright. That does mean that this does have at least some amount of scalability. Just naturally, because you're able to attack more later on, but... Also, this does not have to say that you hit. You just have to attack them.
I think we'll change it to clarifying that you do have to hit, though.
Okay, yeah.
Because
then, like, you know, technically speaking, you could just make, like, a bullshit Fury that's, like, inaccurate as hell and you don't care about it beyond the amount of attacks you make.
Yeah.
In exchange, I'm actually fine if it stacks their blind condition. Because it's a 10% chance.
Fair enough.
Do you have to roll is there an application roll, or does it bypass soul save?
I say it bypasses. It's only a 10% chance.
Lock to 10%.
Yeah. You can't increase it, so why not let it bypass?
Well, because there are accuracy stat changes. But I guess, you know. Because, you know, accuracy stat changes increasing percent chance that something procs.
Well, this will be locked to 10%.
Yeah. So long as it's locked. In that case, yeah, you know, it's fine. Subtracts a dice, has a secondary effect. It scales with you. And clearing up some of the clarification. So, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Tremor Sense. You are able to sense movement that is touching the ground within double primary range. You cannot sense who, what direction they are in, or how many people or objects are moving, only that there is movement.
One thing I don't like about this is that it's anti-synergistic with having teammates.
So
This
we could say
exclusively
that
becomes you. Yeah, go ahead.
So we could say that you can be familiar with individuals' movement in the area in order to, you know, clarify if there is additional others there. Or something along those lines.
Either that, or we need to provide
You
some
could
sort
just
of
make all
upgrade
your
to this.
teammates pick up fly speed.
Yeah, fly speed or hover. Or we could provide an upgrade path to this where it lets you differentiate. But that doesn't really, I guess, fix the fact that it's anti-synergistic with having teammates.
I think it'll just be automatic that you can be familiar.
Maybe just
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe using an action to determine these kinds of things, whether a standard action or a full action. Because I do kind of like the flavor of it right now, but it does mostly just seem valuable within a role play sense or like an investigation sense where it's much more likely that you can just have your teammates chill for a second.
Well, I don't know about an upgrade or requiring an upgrade on it. I'd say just make it where they, it's going to
Familiar
be
with allies.
yeah. It'll be a little ambiguous on what requires you to be familiar. I'll put in a note that the storyteller will determine that. But you can at least be familiar with your allies enough to recognize their movement patterns.
On the flip side, future concerns. Is this going to be too powerful when invisibility is a thing that could technically be seen on the horizon with magic?
Maybe, but
because-
it's...
Go ahead. I was gonna say no because otherwise invisibility has a problem in a lot of games of being OP as is. So having something that goes around it is actually a good thing, IMO.
Yeah. In fact, I think we'll have multiple things that provide like soft or hard counters to invisibility. Because there is also like, you know, when it comes to the tremor sense thing, there is already 2 to 3 very big hard counters, which is having a special movement speed. For fly, hover, or I could even see a very easy argument for phase. With creative use. So, you know, like, against an opponent that can fly or hover...
I'm fine with that as long as there's going to be other counters.
Yeah.
I'll also
Well, 'cause
say
also-
that with that, at least right now, you cannot sense what direction they are or anything like that. You just know that somebody is moving. So, you know, even if they have invisibility, sure, you'll be able to you can detect through the ground that there is additional something else moving around on the ground around you, but you won't be able to see it or know exactly where.
Yeah. And the other thing is also, you could just always just get, like, sniped from outside your radius of being able to see with this. Like, it does have a very limited range. But, yeah, I definitely think just, like, making a small change to make it less anti-synergistic.
It's more so I don't want it to be like, oh, you have a storyteller who's willing to use creatures with invisibility. You have to have someone with this feat specifically.
No, it's not. There's going to be other counters to invisibility.
Like scent.
Scent, hearing.
Okay.
There's
fine
going
with it
to
then.
be, like... again, there's still probably going to be other, like, you know, interesting, like, creative uses that you could also use to try and figure it out. And also probably just, like, some feats that make you better at spotting things like that. You know, things of that nature. It's not this or nothing. It'll be fine. So I guess, you know, the minor edit, and then... Yeah.
Okay, so
Amplification. Goated.
they may become familiar with others' allies to identify their movements separate from those you are unfamiliar with. I suppose we could allow a standard action to make an investigation check to determine location.
Basically, you have to take a. Basically, you would have to. Maybe not like investigation like alone. Maybe perception could also work if someone's trying to like tough it up.
You could always keep it vague and let them decide and just say you have to roll a successful check to identify general direction or other discernible information.
Yeah.
All right. I will make that note. Alright, so if you roll really, really well on your investigation with Tremor Sense or the Perception, then, yeah, you might be able to narrow them down to exactly where they are, but we'll leave it vague.
Yep. Electric Affinity Amplification. Just kind of an overall good one. Grants an aura that grants a bonus die to yourself and allies on ethereal damage rolls. It's you and all allies around you getting a bonus. The only thing that I want to know when it comes to things like this, do they stack?
So 2 people with this feat, would it stack? Or a similar feat, I suppose. I say...
I guess of the same.
Yeah, the same general buff. I say no.
Okay.
But that is, up for discussion.
Yeah, because technically right now it doesn't have that sort of restriction on it. I'm fine with saying that, maybe if someone has a similar feat, it can stack, but the same aura can't stack on an individual more than once. Different auras are fine, but having, the exact same aura stacking, that's a no-go. What about you guys?
Same source stacking specifically, you mean?
No,
Well, yeah,
say Jace and Asher both have amplification. We would not be both be able to use it to give a double bonus to Riv.
Yeah.
you can't have more than one aura active as a character at any time anyway. Like, you yourself. Like, I can't have, 2 separate aura. Like, I can't have the, I can't have this in the head and tail when active at the same time. But if someone else has it active and we're, sharing auras, that's fine.
Yeah, same source. I meant exactly what Zim said.
Yeah.
But there's not a good term for that specifically.
But
same kind.
Well, in the exact same one, no. But say Jace had I don't know,
yes,
metal affinity one that also grants ethereal damage bonus. We're saying that you can have both of those, just not the exact same one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a word to describe that properly, because there really isn't one.
I guess the best thing would just be you can have the same kind of effect, but not from the exact same feat.
Yes.
Has to be another unique feat.
I guess you could always call it, you can only get this from this particular feat once, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
I'm gonna make an aura section. Let me just make notes on this. It'll be a small section, but I think it'll be a useful section, because I don't know... I feel like the rules for auras are scattered about.
They kind of are.
So
Yeah.
I want to make one unified location for it. But anyways, next up...
Electromagnetism. When you take the multi-attack maneuver, if you use 2 electric abilities in a row, then the second ability receives an extra die on accuracy.
Did we want to do the same thing to this that we did to Master of None?
Well, Master of None is specifically if you attack with a super effective move. Honestly, with the changes we're making to follow-up, electromagnetism is just a worse version of that. Because follow-up is... It doesn't care what type your attack is, it's just if you attack the same target...
Yep.
Oh wait, no,
the other
this
thing to
one
think of, though, is
is...
that this stacks.
It does stack. But I will actually say that this one does not require that it's the same target. It's just that you yourself have used 2 electric abilities.
Yeah, I was about to say, there is some nuance to this, and it stacks, so... You know, if you just want to be like, okay, my first thing is shit, and then I hit you really fucking hard, follow-up plus electromagnetism would be pretty funny.
On top of that, this would also work with non-attacking moves, wouldn't it, with the way it's currently worded?
I guess it depends, because you kind of have to make offensive actions with a multi-attack.
True. Because it is specific. Well, yeah, it is specifically multi-attack, so...
Yeah. I mean, we could make it more generalized if you want, but...
No, I think I'd rather keep it to the multi-attack maneuver, but instead we amplify what it does.
Yep.
So maybe
here's an interesting
guaranteed...
idea.
Go ahead.
What if it's +1 for every electric ability you've used as a part of this multi-attack previously?
For the sake of Fury, I would say different electric type
Unique electric type attacks? Yeah, sure.
But
like, you know, that means that, like, by the time, like, you get to, like... Because, like, you know, if we make it so that way it only activates on multi-attack, but if we also make it so it takes into account the entire turn, that also allows some extra counterplay, but the wording might get a bit fuzzy there, so... But if we put the word unique in there, then it no longer just goes wild with Fury with that idea.
Yeah, Fury is one that we want to counterbalance on this.
Yeah. But I think that's an interesting, like, idea for it.
I like that.
Especially because, like, you know, it makes your multi-attacks better. Because usually as you're getting down on your multi-attacks, you're rolling, like, so little accuracy dice. This won't increase the amount of multi-attacks that you can do, but it makes your later stage multi-attacks better. And we could either keep it accuracy dice or accuracy successes, because we're not allowing Fury with this, so we don't have to be as careful.
I would say successes, because that does not allow them to make additional multi-attacks with this, then.
Yeah, it also delineates, and again, we're not allowing Fury with this, so we can be a bit looser. You good with that, Error?
Yep.
Cool. I have
Alright.
such a funny idea for static charge.
Oh boy.
I guess technically with this, we are allowing Fury moves. It's just, you know, you would have to have a bunch of different Fury quick actions, and that's a huge amount of XP, but if you want to invest
At
that
that
much
point,
just for
yeah, sure.
this, go for it.
At that point, this is a cornerstone to a silly build, and I'm fine with it. If
It's
what we
easy to
do,
counter one element builds anyways, so I'm not worried about it.
yeah, it does make it rather easy to to screw over.
I am planning to put in a note that a lot of these, such as electromagnetism, electromagnetism and amplification, you can absolutely, like, these are just examples that you could then use to make your own affinity feats for.
Yeah,
You
these
know,
are
this is-
examples, and you can flavor otherwise the
Yeah.
element.
You can make it to another element.
All right, so you guys ready to hear my very funny idea for static charge?
Yep.
Just have it scale with athletics.
I'm waiting for
Either
an
that or have
explanation.
it have movement speed affected somehow, but I would prefer athletics.
I'm confused why you're calling it a funny idea on this. I mean, to me, it just makes sense. I'm not sure why it's funny.
It's very funny because the idea of someone picking this up and doing the equivalency of, okay, time to fitness max so I can charge even harder using this is very funny to me.
Are you just imagining Goku? Is that what's going through your head? Is this an I'm charging my laser joke?
No, it's also just the idea of an electric type like trying to like run marathons to increase their athletics so that way they can just sprint really hard at someone. They're like having someone's strategy revolve around getting fit so they can sprint as hard as possible at you. I don't know why. This is very funny to me. I mean, I definitely think it's still like the most fitting one, but it just makes me chuckle, and I don't know why. But yeah, there's my thing. Have it scale with athletics.
I'm good with it.
Era.
Yep, I'm fine.
Cool.
Alright, Fiery Burst. When you attack, you are able to roll your strike's accuracy to deal 1 chip damage to an additional target within 5 feet of the original target. This effect does not cause hit stun.
On one hand, like, you know, it's literally just like a splash effect. On the other hand, I mean, it doesn't really scale that much.
I mean, it's
Like, 'cause it also doesn't cause hit stun. Well, yeah, but I said that much. I didn't say at all. Because at the end of the day, it's just, you know, ideal chip damage. But also, I mean, I guess it does scale a lot with Fury. Fury is what makes this really good. But I kind of want to, like... Do you guys get what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but then without restricting Fury, I don't know if giving it a scaling damage would be a good thing. Because yes, this would definitely be good for Fury.
I'm not sure how
Unless
to
we
have it
wanted to
scaled.
scale the amount of targets within range.
Oh, 1 additional target for per scale? I could go for that.
Because they'd
I
have to
don't-
be around you.
I definitely do not want it to increase the damage. That would get ridiculous, but being able to do more you know, be able to hit more targets with this, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And it's already got scaling, like partial scaling with the accuracy, and then it would have scaling with how many targets, though on the flip side there, it would also require that many targets be within 5 feet of the original target.
Good for dealing with mobs.
Yep.
The good old quotient of, yes, please stand next to each other.
Yeah. Especially considering, like, you know, this doesn't specify that you have to do it with, like, a single target ability, so you could fireball their ass, and technically, again, like, this only lances off the original target, so, like, it doesn't, like, all have it spike onto each other, but this is still effectively +1 damage, so long as the strike accuracy hits, as, like, a secondary effect on your already AoE fireball.
I mean,
Yeah.
look,
You
if
know
you're
what I
going to
mean?
be a fireball wizard, go for it.
Yeah. So, like, so long as it has some sort of, like, actual scaling, and now it does, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Alright, so what do we want it to scale with for the additional target then?
Probably just primary scale.
Argument for
Kind-
emit.
No, because I don't want to limit this to being specific
Ranged
to
builds.
moves and range specific as well.
Okay.
I guess there is. What would be an interesting one to try and tack onto this? Is there a good interesting one? I guess craft. Craft could be interesting on that.
I think I'm good with primary.
Primary, yeah.
Hello there, Lightpaw. Alright. So, next up, Heat Stroke. This feat grants you an aura that causes enemies to struggle with making physical attacks, reducing their accuracy by 1 die. You must use a quick action on each of your turns in order to maintain this aura. This aura can be cancelled out by environmental conditions such as extreme cold or the aura of cold feet, which I have on the aura of cold that basically it can be cancelled out, so they just cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Considering how many it can target with this, I mean, it's already got scaling with the aura range, so...
Yeah, it already scales. It requires a quick action maintain, though, and I don't know how I feel about that, about just -1 accuracy.
That is fair. We could remove that part. I would be okay with removing the requirement there. Though I will say that we do have another feat that we may want to revisit then.
The one where it lets you have a second quick action every turn, but just for maintaining auras.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, that's a support feat, to be fair, so, like, we could revisit that later.
Yeah. We'll just want to keep that in mind, that feat in mind for this, then. Or keep in mind that we're removing the quick action requirement to maintain. I am good with removing that.
Yeah, because either we remove the quick action or we make it a success in order to, like, kind of give it a reason. One of the two.
I think just remove the quick action to maintain. Because I don't really want to limit people on what they can do, and even then, like, even if we made it one success, I don't feel it's quite worth it.
That's fair.
Plus, we're already only allowed one aura at a time, so
yeah,
they're already spending resources to keep the heat stroke active.
Which is kind of why we're changing that anyway.
Yep.
Are you
But
using
also,
the
you
new
know-
mic, Lightpaw?
I am, yes, sir.
Oh,
Weird.
something, Tinny.
Yeah. You got the one that I recommended? Lightpaw?
Let me double check that that's the one that's actually being used.
I was about to say, double check that Discord's actually using it.
Yeah, and you might want to double check Windows to make sure it's not doing something funky with the drivers. If not, because
Yep.
Windows sometimes likes to decide drivers weird.
Also, you do want to have the microphone 6 inches from your mouth, and you want to talk into the side of it. Specifically the front where you see the logo, the HyperX logo.
Yep.
There we go.
Because it's not so much that he sounds tinny, it's more that he sounds echoey.
Yeah, I guess.
Kind of muffled too.
Yeah. Oh, make sure you're also on cardioid. That helps, generally.
Is this better?
That is
Feel
better.
Yep, a little bit better. Still a tad muffled, but way. At least you're not getting that weird echo.
Trying to figure out how to measure how far away from my face it is.
Pinky to thumb. Put your thumb on your chin, your pinky, to the mic, and that's about where you want to be.
Yep.
Basically, do the hang loose symbol and put it to your chin.
Either that or you can, like... it depends on, like, hand size, but you could also, like, stack your hands together.
It doesn't have to be
Or,
precise on that, though.
Yeah. So long as you're consistent, people will, like, tune their volume of you to the correct amount.
Well, it is in the correct location, then. It could be related to whatever issue I was having, still having, actually, vis-a-vis the, sometimes if I keep it muted for more than a couple seconds, when I unmute it, it is not actually transmitting. Which I'm
you
imagining is probably a driver issue. So
Hearing what you're saying, actually, you might want to turn down the gain a little bit on the microphone itself, because what I think I'm actually hearing is a slight room echo.
Yeah,
Is
that's
this
what
better
I'm
then?
sorry, what was that?
Is this better then?
A little
no.
bit.
Yeah,
Not
keep
really.
going.
Yay, mic check. Mic check.
That's better.
Yeah,
It's not
that's better.
Perfect, but it's better.
Maybe a little bit more down on the gain, and then turn up the microphone slightly in Windows.
While he's messing around with that, Soothing Warmth. This feat grants you an aura that grants 1 point of preventative healing per turn to you and your allies. The feat also adds 1 die to any healing rolls where the user is within your aura range. Notes the recipient does not need to be within range of your aura to receive the bonus healing. If someone uses a healing ability and utilizes the bonus die from your aura, you must spend a quick action on your next turn in order to maintain the aura. The 1 preventative healing is applied on the recipient's turn and could be applied if they simply pass through your aura. I think this is one of those feats where it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't do anything in practice.
I think it just needs scaling.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing. Preventative healing. preventative healing doesn't stack. It takes the highest amount that's been applied. So
That-
this says if they have no preventative healing, apply 1 preventative healing.
True.
So it sounds really good on paper, but when you look at what it actually does, it doesn't do too much right now.
Yeah, it does give a bonus to healing rolls though, which is nice.
Yeah. But it's also 1 dice, which like that's not bad, but
Well, first off, I can definitely say we should remove the quick action to maintain.
yeah.
Yep.
So that we can start with crossing out.
We could try making the amount of preventative healing scale. Or the amount of dice scale, one of the two.
I would lean towards the dice in this case. I think the preventative healing's a hat trick, where the dice is the actual bonus.
Yeah, because
Well-
the 1 preventative healing doesn't do anything unless your team literally has none.
It's also a matter of, like, this is applying to every...
Sorry.
Okay, you are... What dot is your gain at on the, like, is it the biggest, smallest, middle?
I'm now putting it on the second smallest dot.
It sounds way better to me now, though.
Yeah. Try moving it a bit towards the 3rd.
I wouldn't say he needs to be louder.
Loudness I can fix. Give me a second.
Well, no, I was saying for him to, because doesn't it like increase the amount of gain the bigger the dot is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, to go towards the 3rd. He's at the 2nd, smallest.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a volume fix. That'd be a sensitivity fix.
I had also changed my input volume.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
coming
it's
through a
bit
lot
clearer
more
now.
clean now,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
Clearer
good.
now.
So I
Much
think your
Now
better.
gain
try
is
changing the
good.
volume.
Yeah,
Volume's
I got my volume.
fixable. I'm not worried about that. If you want to titch it up a little bit in Windows, what is it at right now with percentile?
I would...
It was at 50%. I'm pushing it to 60.
Yeah, just don't push it past 75. Windows gets weird after 75.
Noted. When I was testing earlier, it was at 100.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just have this scale with if we're doing the dice, I don't want this to scale with medicine because that's double dipping at that point.
Yeah.
So
I don't know...
what about
it-
something like good.
I want this feat to be able to stand on its own without requiring that you also be using a healing move.
Well, in that case, we're going to want to scale the preventative healing. Or maybe make it work off of something like presence.
Presence would work.
So it scales with presence. I'm okay with that, with whatever we decide to have it scale, whatever gets scaled.
Yeah.
But it's going to get outclassed. Well, then again, it's all your allies, right? Anybody in the aura.
Yeah.
So I
and
guess
it's-
5 preventative healing a turn in an aura, if you have your presence maxed out, is actually kind of strong.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
strong. Especially because that's 5 preventative healing per turn while they stay close to you. Now, or move through your area.
Yeah. At later levels, it's not going to be as prevalent, but 5 is still 5, and that'll still
5
keep
is still
somebody
5,
from dying.
No, that's still like a really good effect.
I will definitely say in Pathfinder, the twin shields have been very useful.
Well, yeah, it's a great effect.
Yep.
So yeah, scale the preventative healing by presence.
Yep.
Yep.
Not the additional dice, though. We can't really justify both.
Yeah, it's not both. It's one or the other. And if we want it to be a standalone that doesn't actually require you making like medicine checks on people and like heal moves and all that, then it's gonna have to be the shield.
Yep. The thing you pick up when you definitely don't have a healer.
Also known as someone should still probably pick this up in Wild Traditions, right? If possible.
Probably. I mean, since we can technically reframe it, I could toss on Thales.
That's true.
I will say Thales won't be sticking around forever. I will
Oh, I
have
know,
him
I'm
sent
just
off
joking.
somewhere, but
Yeah.
at least until
I mean-
Spike dies.
Yep.
Yeah. I could always do the funny thing of tacking it onto one of Nova's evolutions, but that's also like very conditional, and he's not in control of that. So
We'll figure it out when time comes. But yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
in the party should probably grab it.
yeah. To be fair, this is just a good one to have in general in a party. But
Hey,
you know.
hey
To be fair,
Vari.
most of
Vari, this sounds right up your alley.
I don't know
I
if
was
he's
just
still there.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying this is to be fair, most of these feats are things that you probably want in a team anyway. Like just the ones that we've like retouched up so far. Also, Vari said, "Oh, so he is here."
He is there.
But yeah, so that'll be a neat little feat. Yep, that's exactly what this is gonna be, Vari. Anyway, let's try and move on to Light Affinity. Guiding Light. Your attacks are brilliant and mark your foe. Go S. Make-
One moment before we move on.
Okay.
Okay, so Guiding Light.
Guiding Light. A little bit of a
What
little
the
bit of a.
hell happened here?
I don't know.
My only guess is that somebody with editor might have accidentally messed that up a bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Looks like somebody with editor was playing a mud while they were editing the document.
Are you discussing about a glow?
What does it say?
I
Never
think
mind.
this was supposed to be... Yeah. The go is
I think
the...
it was glows. Foes. Yeah.
Your attacks are brilliant and mark your foes, making it easier for your allies to hit. Yeah. When you successfully hit a target, they emit a glow, and the next attack to target them receives a bonus die to accuracy. This feat may affect a number of targets per turn equal to your feat limit.
We could also put in a note that says they no longer receive any benefits from darkness. Like if it's low light conditions or something,
I
and they're
like
trying
that.
to gain like a benefit from that, you're literally making them glow. So I mean,
Or a negative to
Also-
stealth, just in general.
Vari, yeah, that is something that we will be noting. So you can pick it up with Nature Affinity. I would allow that.
It currently doesn't say it's restricted to light-typed attacks. Is that something that we should change?
No, most of these I've been trying to keep from them being focused on the idea behind them for most of these is it's not so much that you're using the typed attack, the same type, but so much as your actual typing is flowing through, even if you are, you're a light type using a fire type attack. It still is carrying that light typing with it still.
Yeah, things like electromagnetism are kind of the exception.
Yeah.
That's fair. I was just wondering because by the flavoring, I was just like, okay, well, what if we use necrotic and now they're marked with a light?
They're marked with darkness now. They reek of undeath.
I mean, it's just that just
No.
means that the light's purple.
Kingdom Hearts is light.
But
Yep.
yeah, no, I'm fine. I don't know if we want to swap it to an accuracy success, but I definitely like the idea of it removing any sort of bonuses from darkness they have, like lighting and all that. That's a nice little flavor win to throw on this.
I am testing the new icon as well, by the way.
Or are we
Alright.
switching to the ST ones now? All of us?
Well, we got like 20 minutes before the next thing, but I mean, I guess we could. I'll change to a fox.
You were already a fox, though.
Well, yeah, but a different fox. I mean, same species of fox, but different fox. But anyway, do we want to change it to an accuracy success or leave it as an accuracy dice?
I would say, for brevity, since we're going that way, let's do the success.
Yeah. It technically does have a secondary effect, but it's like a really minor one.
It's a very particular situational one.
Yeah. But also, this will be really helpful if you're trying to fight like enemies in the dark and you just have like a low-powered AoE to use. Just like become invisible.
Yeah. And like even with necrotic, like the idea that I would use for like this being necrotic or even shadow affinity is that you're still glowing. It's just instead of a bright light, it's a maybe purple or green or something.
Shadow just gives everyone's the Disney's Hercules Hades
That's fair.
fire.
It's just something that
Yeah.
stood out to me.
But yeah. Pure Aura, that's just good. This is a good effect. This is good.
Yeah, I mean, the most it scales is aura range, but otherwise, I don't think we're gonna change it.
This doesn't need to scale. It is good at all stages.
Look, a +1's a +1.
A plus, like it's +1 to soul save to you and all your allies in the area. It's just good. I guess if we want to tack on an extra effect,
I think it's good as is.
yeah, I was about to say the only other thing I could think that would tack on that could like do something without it being like major is like maybe giving a bonus against fear effects.
Well, alternatively, we could always change it to a +2 at like 20 attributes.
To be
Or
fair,
just until the next hit, they increase the light stage around themselves. If they're glowing, they're a source of light now.
well, we're not talking about that. The guy we're on to pure aura now. I think we'll leave it as is.
Yeah, I mean it's just good as is anyway. It's a little feels bad that it doesn't scale in some way or have a narrative effect, but honestly, getting a passive +1 soul save is really good. So, Smite the Wicked. Your light inspires your allies. This feat gives you an aura that gives you and your allies a bonus die on physical power rolls.
Feels like the equivalent of Amplify of your electric affinity.
It is. It's the physical equivalent of it. Speaking of, what did we do to Amplify again?
Looks like nothing.
We did not do
No,
anything
we just
to
haven't-
amplification.
that's it. Yeah, I think we just kept that.
Yeah. And I think this is good as is. Like, if
Well,
it
yeah,
were
it's just the
accuracy, I might want to change it to success, but power is a little bit different on that.
Yeah. Power has a cap for a reason, even though accuracy is technically a more expensive effect. Because you're not just paying with XP for power, you're also paying against a power cap. This ignores your power cap.
Alright, it's just a flesh wound. Your sturdy body allows you to resist damage that would otherwise be potentially lethal. If you would take damage that causes you to be winded, render you unconscious, or outright kill you, you instead survive with 1 HP. This feat may trigger once per scene. This feat does prevent you from receiving the normal wound. That should be changed to injury.
Yep. So I guess here's a list of things. We could make this a lot more brief by just saying if you would be dropped below 1 HP, you would instead only go to 1 HP. This can happen once per scene.
I mean, we could make it brief, but I don't think we need to.
Yeah. I mean, this is just really good no matter how you cut it.
Yeah. Doesn't need to scale. We're good.
Yep. It's just really good. Congratulations. It's an anti-death effect. Those are always good.
Sharp edges. What's up?
I said there's a reason Sturdy is a meta-defining ability in Pokemon.
Well, this isn't sturdy. This is better sturdy.
Yep.
Anyway, sharp edges.
The metal you have incorporated with your body has particularly sharp parts to it. When you are hit with a melee attack, you may roll your strike's accuracy in order to deal 1 chip damage to the attacker. This effect does not cause hit stun.
Well, I guess it technically does, because it still counts as a melee attack. I was about to ask, does this work against attacks with reach? But because it still counts as melee, even if you're attacking with reach, it's, it would still work.
Yeah.
It doesn't even take it a reaction. It's just if you're hit with a melee attack, you can try to chip them.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
good.
I think we're going to leave it as is. It doesn't really scale, but at the same time, it's just good.
To.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't scale with you. It scales with your opponent, technically.
It's a come at me, bro.
All those people trying to hug a Lucario.
I know, right? Shed the Rust. Well, we just updated this one, so,
Yeah.
that one's fine. Mythic Affinity. Empathic Touch. Receive a pool that refreshes each day of points of restorative healing that be given out to yourself or allies. This pool is equal to double your feat limit. This healing may be split up in any way that you wish and does not need to be spent all at once. This ability uses a quick action and requires a touch, or it can be used up to half primary range away with a standard action. I mean, it's just like a paladin lay on hands heal pool.
Yep.
Literally.
But,
That was the
yeah,
intention.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's good. Congratulations.
Do you still want to keep it tied to the day, or do you want to switch it to one of the others, like once a session or once a seed?
No, it should be daily.
Yep.
I guess instead of day, we should put long rest, but
Probably. Just for brevity, actually, yeah, probably long rest.
The consistency.
Also make
at
it clear
that
that you need to sleep in order to get it back.
Full rest would be would not be brevity. That would make it longer, but it would be more clarified. So I'm good with doing that. Otherwise, yeah, it already has scaling. I think it's good.
Yep. All right. Hit someone your own size. Formally, get behind me.
1 sec.
What? Okay.
Take this opportunity to put my dirty dishes in the kitchen.
I will say, Lightpaw, I'm not planning for us to have session this evening for DAH.
I know. I'm here as a mic check and a because I'm bored.
Fair enough.
That's right. Well, at least we got the mic check portion over, and you sound a lot better.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome to the world of microphones, where you have to learn about gain and volume and many other things.
It's still got a little bit of echo to it, but it's
It's
much
a very
better.
acceptable amount.
Yeah.
It's an acceptable amount of echo.
There's a certain point where you can't handle it anymore, and you just need to put something up to mute it actually physically in real life.
Yeah.
So get so get yourself some noise canceling panels.
Well, you can just put up anything canvas or artwork related, and it usually works.
Yeah.
Guitars take up most of my sound in this office.
So,
All right, so yeah.
Quick question there, Lightpaw, and this is very important, obviously.
Could be worse.
When your icon blushes, does it get the little the cute little blue tinge?
I could absolutely have Roy add that.
I think we might need a blushy version of that, just, in case.
With my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination.
The Fifth Amendment only works with the American government a quarter of the time. I'm not the American government, buddy.
I'm not a government official.
Yeah, this is a totalitarian regime here.
Zim and the Council of Dragons have spoken.
All right. Hit someone your own size. We're ready to continue.
Yes.
All right. When a physical attack specifically targets an ally within your aura range, you may use a reaction in order to take half of the damage yourself. The damage is halved after your ally's integrity is applied, though your own integrity will not reduce the damage further. That said, your armor will still apply. Does that account for negation of armor?
What is...
I don't know, that's from Lightpaw?
Yeah, that's from Lightpaw.
Or Aeroton? I don't know how to pronounce that yet.
Arrow, did you mute your mic?
Lightpaw.
I don't think he did. I think he walked away.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. He's gonna have to learn to not do that.
Yeah.
Learning lesson for Arm. When you have an
before you
actual
walk.
mic, you need to mute it.
Yeah, it's sounding almost like
Aliens have come.
it almost sounds like it's water in the background, so he's probably doing the dishes.
Yeah. So I know it says your own integrity will not reduce the damage further. That said, your armor will still apply. Armor has negations. Does that apply?
I would say no,
No. Okay.
but you can
Gonna need to-
soak.
Okay, so you can soak with armor. You cannot have negations apply. That'll just take a little bit of a wording update. It requires you have the aura active. Activating this aura requires a standard action, or it can be activated with a reaction by suffering a point of exhaustion. Activating it will allow you to utilize this feat with the same reaction.
I am okay with removing the standard action just to keep things standardized with the quick action to switch to it. But but I think that having that added ability where they can use a reaction to activate it if it wasn't,
That's flavorful.
yeah.
I like it. That's good.
Yep.
Has that noise gone away?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, that would be that glitch that I was telling you I was running into.
Ah, okay.
I
That
did
is-
mute my microphone when I stepped away, and when I came back, that.
Mute on mute on Discord.
I would say do a return of this microphone. You
Was
know,
this happening with other mics?
no.
No. Okay.
So I think that the first place I would start is assume that it's just you happen to get, that 1 in a million, or probably not a million, but 1 in 100 faulty microphone. Because, they do happen where faulty products get sent out. So
That was a really weird noise, though.
I'm
is.
assuming that it's a. I'm assuming that it is possibly a driver glitch, but I don't know.
I would start with returning it and getting the new one. Doing the
Just exchange
exchange.
the new one.
Start there, and then if it doesn't work, then we can, or then if it still happens, then we know it's your PC. Because obviously the chances of you getting 2 faulty microphones is basically 0.
Yeah.
Yep. So those changes to hit someone your own size. Mythical Wrath. This
Oh, 1
is
sec.
just. Okay.
So hits, I didn't write down notes. Remove standard action requirement. We'll leave the reaction. Do we want it to still suffer a point of exhaustion for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ironically, it makes the feat feel better that it has a cost to it.
Fair.
Because one of the things where now you feel like, oh, I'm putting in effort and paying a cost in order to save my ally, instead of, oh, whenever I want, so long as I have a reaction, I can do that.
Fair.
It literally makes the feat feel better than it has the cost.
Alright, so Mythical Wrath.
This is better version of the metal feat, just a flesh wound. It does the exact same thing, but with an added effect.
I think we should probably remove the bonus die. And maybe change the name of it. Well, no, we don't really want to have 2 that are exactly the same.
Yeah, I was
So-
about to say, if you remove the accuracy die,
Well, we already have 2 that are the exact same, which is Fiery Burst and Splash.
Fair. We should probably change one of those then, because, the whole point of these is to have different examples that you can then reflavor to be a different affinity.
Yeah.
So, having the exact same effect, I would rather avoid. So, we can come up with something else down there. Or for Fiery Burst, either way.
Yeah. For Mythical Wrath,
I would say we remove the staying alive part.
Yeah.
And instead make it that you get a bonus, a guaranteed success on accuracy and a bonus die to power against somebody that attacked you last turn.
Yeah. Especially because it's anyone that's attacked you last turn.
Yes.
are we going to incorporate any form of scaling, or are we going to leave it flat like that?
I suppose we could do a only guaranteed success on accuracy, but scale it on presence.
Yeah.
Which my only hesitation there is the fact that I don't really want too many things scaling with the same thing.
To make it
Yeah.
scale off appraisal. You have
Make it scale
gained
up.
the mythical thing's attention, and it has now appraised you.
I think that Mythical Wrath is better with the presence. Maybe change
fair.
Soothing Warmth to a different one.
I mean, that's kind of hard because, like, group effects are literally supposed to be presence by design.
You
That
could
is fair.
always change the warming one to persuasion.
We can.
Yeah, but that's supposed to be a single target.
Yeah.
We can leave them. We can have them both be presence. I'm just saying. I would rather make sure that we don't have probably
Too many on present.
Yeah,
that's fair.
so probably no more on presence, but I'm okay with both of these being on presence.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so guaranteed accuracy. All right, Mythical Wrath. Remove anti-death effect. Alright. So we are at time for switching, and we're kind of, about to move into nature affinities, so I think this might be a good point to call it.
Fun fact, Mythic is also the literal halfway point for the affinities.
Oh, fair enough.
Because it's affinity number 8, and we have 16 affinities, including basic.
Neat.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us so far on the stream today. That was DevTales, where we were working on our SCAR system. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They're on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It is one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by picking up packs of cards to stream loots using our Humble Bundle partner link, or by commissioning one of the artists that I manage for. Their details are at zgf.art. But for now, thank you so much for joining, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.
Bye.